Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, thank you so much for popping in. I am back trying out this technique with the frosted glass spray from Rustoleum, but this is going to be 100% frosted glass spray. If you watched the video I did last week before, I kind of bottled out halfway because I didn't think it would be visible, and I ended up using some gold in there, giving us that Julius Caesar vibe. This time, I did promise I'm going to do it again, and I'm just going to use the frosted glass spray. I'm using these stunning tree stencils. These are simple plastic tree stencils that you put on your windows at Christmas to use your snow spray. Fully plan on using snow spray in resin as well at some point. Now the mold I am using is from Moulds and Shapes. It's the 10cm across round coaster mold, and the details for that will be down below. The resin I'm using is the Let's Resin Epoxy, and honestly, this was a long one, guys. This took a week to film. So honestly, I've never stuck with something for so long, if you know me. I'm such an advocate of giving up. I'm such a quitter. But yeah, this one did take quite a long time when it comes to Claire's Crafty Corner videos. The longest video so far, I think, on my channel. Okay, first things first. I've cleaned the mold with some tape, and I'm just laying down a really simple layer of resin. Now don't worry too much. I have tried to make this video as compacted as possible to show you all of the steps, and I'm not gonna drag you through every single second of everything. I'm using my heat gun just to get rid of any potential bubbles that may be in this resin. I want my resin to be as crystal clear as can possibly be, and just using the heat gun is gonna diminish the majority of the bubbles. Now, 24 hours later, it is time for the first coat of the frosted glass spray. Now, it pains me to cut these up. I know one of you lovelies said, why don't you just cut your stencil? And I was like, I can't do it. But for this, I truly had to. Now, what I was really looking for here is maximum contact with the resin. This is not self-adhesive plastic, so it really was tricky in that first video to get the stencils laying anywhere close to flat. So I figured if I'm going to try this again, I need to do my best. Do my best to get these plastic stencils to be as flat as humanly possible against the cured epoxy resin surface. And this was the only thing I could think of. Like, truly cutting them out and using masking tape all around those edges to protect the rest of the surface. Now, of course, big advocate of PPE here, so I'm getting my respirator on, and I'm going to be putting my gloves on before I mix my resin. I'm also using a large sheet of this card that I've cut a corner cube out of, a corner square, just to protect the rest of the mold and all of those cured surfaces while I spray. Now, I've got my respirator on and my windows open. Spraying indoors is not ideal, but it's a nice warm day, there's a breeze, and it took it all away. And of course, I've got my mask on, so I can't smell a thing. It's a good way of testing if your filters need replacing. If I could smell this spray, I knew I would have to buy more filters. Luckily, I couldn't smell a thing. I do exactly the same thing to the top two, and then the bottom two get a much smaller stencil. I'm going to just try and make them a little bit different. Now, guys, it was at this point I thought, this video is not going to be that visually stimulating because A, it's a pale blue mold, the resin is clear, the frosted glass spray is not really showing up at this point, and I didn't want you guys to be bored visually of what was happening in the video. So apologies, I'd need you to let you know it's all gonna be worth it, guys. It's all gonna be worth it. But here you see me repeat, literal eat, sleep, repeat. I did exactly the same on all 4 coasters. This is what we were looking like, and I left it to dry for around about 30 to 40 minutes. I had no idea if leaving the spray wet would be okay. Like I haven't really gone down the rabbit hole that is this yet. So 30 minutes later, I poured the next layer of resin, and again, it's very much a repetitive process, which is why I thought visually the video might not be that appealing, but hopefully the process is keeping your attention here. Another blast with the heat gun for that next layer of resin. This is the point where I kind of thought, oh, maybe frosted vellum would work. Has anyone here tried using plain frosted vellum in resin? Can you lay it flat in resin? Does it curl up? Because I've got visions of it curling. I also wondered whether or not we could use semi-permanent peelable removable vinyl. I genuinely think this technique has a future. I truly believe in my soul. This technique with frosted glass spray has a future, but I think it's going to be more of the removable semi-permanent vinyl method, you know, get it cut out on your cutting machine and that is gonna stick. It's gonna stick like stick to your surface, and that's going to give you a much neater, cleaner space. But it's also going to give you the freedom of doing 2 or 3 coats in the same spot. That is something I will talk about further down the line. Now, again, this is 24 hours later. So this is the second layer of the frosted glass spray. And I didn't like the way that first one came out. So you saw me just use alcohol to remove it. And then I went back and did the second one and I was a lot happier with it. Now, this is where I guess they're not fully flat because they're coming off and out and over the edge of the mold, which means they are not going to be flat anymore. It's really only that first one that's going to be super flat. Everything after that is a little bit risky and a little bit wobbly, but I'm doing my utmost to protect every other surface with this card. There were times where I forgot and I was like, no, quickly grab the card just while I spray the next layer. Now I'm pressing the nozzle on the spray, I want to say 4, maybe 5 times for each individual tree that I'm spraying. But again, how you do it is entirely up to you. It honestly became a little bit like Tetris at one point, trying to find the right way to cover the rest, to protect the rest from the spray. But I think even if a little bit of spray got out, it's okay. It's going to add to the mood. It's going to add to the mood as long as it doesn't overtake. You will see here in the video that there was an area where the spray did overtake and I did use alcohol to remove it. But now I'm just doing frosted bottoms. So the bottom where the trees are hitting the earth, I'm going in with the frosted glass spray just to give them all a ground. Yeah, a ground if you like, a bottom. So the trees aren't just floating in midair and there is a base to them. This is what we are looking like so far. I was just thinking my camera's not picking it up, but now that I'm watching it back, it really is just picking it up. You can see the vision. We have got forests right now. We've got 3 trees currently in our forests. This is again about 30 minutes later and I'm pouring the next layer of resin. Now, okay, this is where I saw excess spray that I didn't want. I didn't want that excess spray in the sky, so I'm using a cotton bud with some isopropyl alcohol before I pour the next layer of resin. I don't want to trap it in there. I want to clean it out before I do so. So again, this is what, 3rd layer of resin? This is 3rd layer of resin and 2nd layer of spray paint. So yes, again, I'm hitting them with my heat gun just to ensure that the resin stays as clear as possible. Now, there's a few things to talk about when it comes to this. Whilst visually it hasn't been that stimulating for you guys to watch, I'm sure, but the self-doubt did start to creep in. Like, will it be worth it? It's a lot, guys. It's a lot of ag. Will the end results be worth all of the layers, all of the days that this took? And that really is down to you guys to decide. But me, personally, I know what I'm going to do differently next time. And I'm so excited. It's ridiculous. I personally think, whilst I was having doubts doing this project, because it's a long one, it was like long for me, would it all come together and would it be worth it? And I can honestly tell you right now, I mean, some of you be like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not doing it, Claire, but thanks. But B, I think using the right materials, I don't think these plastic stencils are the way forward. I think the future of this technique is going to be using removable vinyl. I truly feel it in my gut that is going to give us some of the most spectacular results. I also feel like a deeper mold would be amazing as well, so that you could really get the most out of this incredible 3D-ness that we're gonna achieve at the end of this. Okay, final spray coat going on. This is a whole heap of trees. This is one more stencil that I've got that's gonna give us that much taller. I wanted some height, I wanted depth, but I also wanted height, and that's gonna give us it. And now they are dry. The question was, do I top coat while they're in the mold? Because guys, I haven't got much room left. This much. Can you see? Little bit. I didn't have much room left. So my options were top coat whilst in the mold, or demold them all. Go through the whole rigmarole of protecting the bottoms, top coating now while they're outside the mold. I decided that if I'm going to do this properly, if I'm going to do this the way I really want to do this, I'm going to take it to the nth degree. I'm going to do everything in my power to do these the right way so I can see the best possible results from this. Now, guys, stop. Look at this. Just even using a sheet of coloured vinyl so that you guys can see it on camera, it was an immediate wow. Immediate wow. And it was at this point I decided that not only am I going to top coat them in a clear coat, because of course they're still rough, they've still got a spray coat on them, so that needs protecting. So not only am I going to top coat them out of the mold, I'm going to give them a coloured background, because otherwise you're never gonna see them. This is the whole point of the frosted glass spray. They will need a coloured background to really appreciate all of the work that has gone into these in the last week. So here you see me just touching the rough surface. So this is the final spray coat that needs a clear coat, and the top will need the top will need a clear coat. The final rough surface will need a dark coat to bring out everything in the surface. Now, I'm already seeing there are errors. Are there errors? There are lessons to be learned here already, having never done it this way before. But I knew exactly at this moment what I wanted to do. I grabbed a load of different coloured vinyls just to really test, to see what colours are going to make those trees pop the most. I tried the blues, the oranges, the yellows, the greens, the darker blues, the purples, but guys, it was the black. Like, as soon as I put them on black vinyl, I thought, absolutely, yes, please. If you can hear George, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, there's postman outside. But the black was the ultimate winter scene, almost ghostly in a way. I definitely felt like it had to be black. It just had to be. There was no other option for me. This is a side by side of the blue and black. Again, how you end up finishing these off is entirely up to you if you decide to even have a go at this yourselves. So again, I'm not going to show you each and every minute of this. I am protecting the surface right now. So this is the actual physical surface that has the tape on. The background is where the last spray paint was sprayed, and I'm protecting the bottoms. There are multiple ways to do this. I've done a video on this where we used PVA glue. We also used latex, liquid latex, and we also used masking tape. I did a video on which one is best. They all worked great. Honestly, I like PVA over the liquid, but masking tape is fast. Masking tape is the fastest way, hands down, and that is why I chose masking tape to protect my bottoms at this stage. Now I'm just mixing up my resin. This is going to be the bottom, the background, the bottom. So each and every coaster is rested on some of these little cups. Guys, I need those little triangles. You know those little plastic acrylic pyramids? The little pyramids that you can actually just put on your work surface and prop your resin pieces up on. I need some of those, because what I'm using now is not it. It's not the one. But I'm using the Vista black pigment to go into the resin, and this is going to be the bottoms of all of them. Again, I'm not going to show you this all in real time. We've top coated before. Just go slowly with your top coating. Now, here's the thing. My house was built in the 50s. There are no houses built in the 50s. that have flat surfaces. Nothing is flat. You can create and build a proper solid desk that is 100% flat. I never did. I never did in all these years. My surface is not flat. However, pouring slowly and teasing that edge, teasing the resin to the edge, making sure that I don't pour too much on, is still going to give me no overflow. And I was so happy to report there was no overflow. There was a little bit of blush on the surface of these. That could be down to temperature, that could be down to the pigment not being mixed in thoroughly, but most likely it's because it's so hot here at the moment. It's most likely blush from temperature. However, there was no overflow, so I was really, really happy. I'm just scooping my cups up, and then it was just time to remove all of that tape. Again, I'm not going to show you that in real time. This is what we're looking like, and immediately ghostly. My immediate thoughts were, okay, now we have got a haunted forest. This has gone from being very Christmas in July, not that it ever was a Christmas in July video really, but it's gone from being Christmassy to being Halloweeny, very, very Summerween, ghostly, haunted. Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. I gave them all a sand, the surface all, just to help the top coat, the clear top coat really, really, truly grip. You don't have to do that. I just felt like if I'm gonna if I'm gonna see this through to the end and I'm gonna do it properly, I gave them all a real light, fast sanding with 2000, I think it was 2500, or really high grit, just enough to, you know, scratch that surface, but not enough to put dents in. And then I top coated. Same thing again. The bottoms have all been protected with that tape, and I'm just giving them all a blast of my blowtorch. I bought a new blowtorch, a culinary torch from Amazon, identical to the one I had before, because mine died. I don't know if I told anyone, mine died. And it's violent, guys. It's so aggressive. It's even on the lowest setting, the flame comes out like so hard. I'm not sure if I've just bought a faulty one or if it will eventually just calm down. But anyway, back to the video. Again, the top coat, I'm just teasing that resin out to all of those edges using my lollipop stick, making sure not to pour too much on at one time and allowing it to do its thing. Again, I got no drips. I was so happy, and I usually always do get one or two drip offs. Resin will never go where resin has never been, so unless you touch the side to create a channel for it to pour over the edge, you should be good as long as you don't pour too much on. So this was 48 hours later. I got busy, so again it would have been fine after 24, but this was 2 days later. Removing all of the tape from the background, I was honestly so happy with the results. I was happy that I persevered with just the frosted spray. And yes, we have haunted forests. We have Harry Potter haunted forest vibes. Like, honestly, some of them are better than others. Some of the results are better than others. There's definitely progress to be made here. They are nowhere near perfect. However, they are 100% just frosted spray with a dark background. Some of them, like this one, oh my gosh, it's my favourite. It is my absolute favourite. The frosted spray does give bubble vibes in some areas. I don't know if it's bubbles or if it is just the frosted spray that had this kind of speckled effect, but I am seeing multiple layers. I was just worried that my camera wasn't picking it up. Now, my patrons have already seen the results of these, and there was a question raised as to whether we could cover the sides, like use silver pen for the sides, and I immediately felt like it was the sides that was allowing the background to be seen here. So you see me, guys? The light that is going in the sides of the coasters is the only reason we're able to see those trees way off in the background of the forest, because the light is getting through. If I cover it like this, unreal results. So I thought I'd do a test. Like, Miss, thank you so much for telling me to test first. I thought I'd do a test first to see if I paint the sides what will happen, but it's 100% the light is needed. The light is needed for those background trees. Now let's get real. The finished result of the coaster themselves, I love them. The resin, everything about it, spectacular, beautiful, no overspill. The top coat is sublime and shiny and gorgeous. Would I do this again? Yes, I already have plans. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Halfway through, I was losing the will to live. I really was. This is not me. I don't usually do videos that take a week because I'm not about that life. But I'm glad I persevered. Where can this go? Okay, guys, listen. I said to my patrons immediately, I am seeing bed sheet ghosties. Can you imagine? Bed sheet ghosties, a line of bedsheet ghosties, or one at the front, and then the next layer we have 2 behind him, and the next layer we have 4 behind them. And I'm going to be using non-permanent, so removable, peelable vinyl to get the crisp edges that I'm craving, and also the fact that it's going to fully adhere to the surface, and we don't have to worry about these plastic stencils that are really just designed for windows and snow spray, because this one here is my favorite. It's my ultimate favorite. And imagine this as a bedsheet ghosty. And someone else in my Patreon also said graveyard. Stop it now. A graveyard, guys. Like, imagine your peelable, removable vinyl. And here's the thing. Once you've got your removable vinyl down on your resin, you can not only just spray what I sprayed, wait for it to dry 20 minutes, spray again, and wait for it to dry 20 minutes and spray again. So that removable vinyl is really going to stay in place while you get a solid, truly solid. Yes, you could just use white spray paint, but you're not going to get that ghostly, wispy, semi-transparent, frosted look about your piece. So yes, absolutely, you can go and do this with all of your spray paint colours, but it's this ghostly that I'm really seeking now. And I'm going to find a tray in my mould stash that's going to work for the vision I've got, the ghostlies. And it might be one of the solid round tray molds from Molds and Shapes, so like a giant trivet kind of thing from Molds and Shapes that is just round, but then I'm going to be able to use my removable vinyl for my little ghosty bed sheets, and I'm so excited. Let me know what you would do if you were to do this technique. I'm under no illusion that many of you are like, hell no, I haven't got all the time in the world to do this or try this. But even if you just did 1 or 2 layers but you used removable vinyl, I'm telling you the results would be worth it, especially if there's a chunky layer of resin in between them. You're going to get shadows, you're going to get that true depth. But yeah, I think this is definitely a technique that has a future. I was not sure about that halfway through filming. Thank you if you've stayed this long, because guys, this is a long video for Claire's Crafty Corner. I appreciate you all so much, especially for you guys in the live chat. When you come into the live chat, you have no idea how long a video is going to be, and you've kind of been stuck here. You've kind of been trapped with me, so I love you and I appreciate you all so much. And thank you. Let me know if you feel inspired. Let me know if this is something you like but you'll never do, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.